Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Vilcabamba Fireside Chat. Darren and Beatrice here, your hosts. We have a very special guest speaker with us tonight. We're happy to introduce to all of you. I think most people will probably be watching this on a recording, so I'll say the date. It's April 18th, 2021. And the times we're in are very unique with lots of variables of change and dynamics in the air. But we see this also as a great time of opportunity and growth and shedding old and taking on the new. So there's lots of interesting, fun, and exciting ways to look at these times we're in as well. So I'm going to introduce my love here, Beatrice, to go ahead and introduce our new speaker. Great to have you with us tonight. I know this is a very special friend of yours with us tonight. You've been working with and
definitely.
And journeying through the various planes with the
Yes.
inner worlds with on many occasions. I'm sure that topic will probably come up tonight. So why don't you go ahead and introduce our special guest speaker?
Thank you, Darren. And
Okay.
hello, everyone. Hoping you're steady. Are you okay? We're doing this fireside chat. We haven't been doing it for some time. So now is the moment. And yes, I have a very, not only a dear friend, but a really dear guide and mentor of my life along this past maybe decade or more, I don't know. She's a very special, not only healer, but she's a medical intuitive. She also has done many forecasts of what is happening in Earth. I have been watching close her work and her journey, and the way she has unfolded into a very senior advanced healer and specialist of the World Institute for Incurable Diseases. For me, this is the one and the only Moni Platt. So welcome, Moni, and thank you for being our guest today in the Fireside Chat.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. Thank you, Darren, for having me here tonight. It's such a great pleasure to be here and share a little bit of our offline and online knowledge, wisdom, and chats and life experiences. I'm very excited, and welcome to all that are participating.
Thank you, Moni. As I was telling people, we met maybe 10 years or more ago, right? And we have been seeing each other in the first International Convention for Higher Consciousness. That's when we met in person, remember?
Was that in the Philippines or in Houston?
It was in Houston.
In Houston. Wow.
Yeah.
Prior to the Philippines. Okay.
And I knew in those times that Moni was doing healings she was trained by Master Del Pe in the healing of HIV/AIDS, and also she was in India. So my first thing and first comment is, rather than me saying it, I would like to ask you, Moni, if you can tell us a little bit about your journey and your life.
Okay, well, thank you, Beatrice. We met the first time in Houston, Texas for the International Convention for Higher Consciousness. Me personally, I got involved in starting off being trained personally by Master Del Pe, the founder of the healing system of Biwa Science, which was under the World Institute for Incurable Diseases back in South Africa. I used to live there. And I met him in 2006 when we had an HIV/AIDS crisis. And to cut a short story short, he trained us within a very short period of time. In those days, he allowed us to be trained in 5 days to basically know the healing protocol. And with our notes and his guidance, we went and we healed in one of the poorest areas around Johannesburg, which is, some people know about it, it's called Soweto. And I had my first miraculous healing. My first healing, it was a miraculous healing. And I was just really amazed because, of course, after 5 days of learning a vast body of knowledge that you learn with this healing modality, you don't yet know exactly how everything works, right? You do not remember everything that you have learned. So we just went out and we just followed this step-by-step guidance of the protocol, and Master was guiding us. And my client that I was healing at that time, he was delirious. He was on a level 3 stage of HIV/AIDS, and they had to carry him in. He was unable to walk. They laid him on the floor, and I started healing him. And after 20 minutes, this person opened his eyes, stood up, and walked away. And I was just
Wow.
really surprised. It's just like, what happened? And then after a while, he had come back, and he had a big smile on his face. And then, we started talking, and he had had a bladder obstruction, and he had several infections and inflammations in the body. And because of the bladder obstruction, he couldn't walk. And because of the high fever, he was delirious. And after this 20 minutes of healing, the fever had substantially gone down. So he was clear, he could talk to me, and the bladder obstruction had opened. So he had, he went away because he had to relieve himself. And he could walk again. And his mom was with him as well. He was a young man in his mid-20s. And for the mother, the most profound experience was that she saw her son smile. Because of the disease and the long-term sufferings, he was usually in a lot of pain. So, with all the relief after the healing, he was happy, he was smiling, he was talking. And even to me at that time, it was such a miracle that I myself would not have believed it if I would not have been there personally, of course. And since then I have been training and healing people from all walks of life, from the very destitute in Africa to billionaires around the world. And I have helped people to overcome various aspects of life challenges, from incurable diseases, non-medical responders, and also certain syndromes that go more in the psychological field. But again, a lot of the healings that I do and that we specialize in is in the field where medical science has reached a limit, or where medical science cannot do a prognosis or diagnosis because people display symptoms and they try to find out what is wrong with them, but it seems like by the medical diagnosis everything is okay, but yet people would have pain, or they would have some psychological issues, emotional issues, mental issues. And we would call that psychospiritual syndrome, where people suffer problems from maybe spiritual awakening rather than from having really a disease. And, some of the incurable diseases that I'm working with today, every day in my life, is, of course, the most present and urgent needs people have right now is with COVID. I was just telling Darren and Beatrice before we started the recording, just last night, before I went to bed, at midnight, I got an urgent request from one of my clients to heal her family. 9 people just fell ill and were diagnosed positive. And right now, here in the Philippines, where I'm positioned, the hospitals are full, so it is very difficult to get a bed in hospital. It's even difficult to have a consultation with the doctor. So people reach out to, ask our help to heal people and to help them overcome the disease. But overall, I'm healing, or we are offering 57 different specializations that span anything from physical diseases, emotional diseases, mental diseases. For example, we can heal cancer. We can heal aging, age-related diseases like Parkinson, dementia. We can heal attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, and depression, anxiety, burnout, sleep issues. That is also something that has come up a lot since ever the pandemic really started. People are struggling a lot with what usually would be called mental diseases. But it's not all mental diseases, right? Not everything is just mental. A lot of it is actually emotional. And people do not know how to really deal with their emotions, and because of the emotional stress and the pressure of the life changes that they are going through, of course, the emotions affect our minds. So there is a correlation between mental disease, emotional imbalances, and then through that also people start displaying different habits. Maybe they would have had it before already, but in the quarantine, a lot of people start, because of the pressure, start engaging also in maybe wrong lifestyle choices, where they would go more into using substances like alcohol or even harder drugs. So I have been also dealing with more drug addiction and their side effects. And another thing also is in terms of mental, some people are actually, again, do not have access anymore to their usual way interacting with the medical team because of the quarantine. They can't go out. So sometimes they even struggle to get medication, or they cannot have the services that they're used to. So in our case, oh, your video went off. In our case, we can engage with the people online, and the healing system that we are using is a non-touch and non-invasive healing, where we use the natural power of healing energy and physical exercises, the science of breath, and very particular techniques that is part of the training that Master Delphi provides with the Behavioral Healing Science, where we can rejuvenate and remove the energetic root causes of the discomforts that people are experiencing. And we also use a healing meditation that allows people to expel out the inner pent up emotions and negative thoughts that they have. So after a healing session, they usually really feel a lot better. So in a nutshell, that's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Moni. It is extremely exciting to hear about this energy medicine and the great successes you're having. I have a bunch of questions that have just come up for me while you were talking, but one of them is, before we drill down into more of the healing modalities you just gave us a wonderful overview on, I think it would be really good for the people to hear. I'm going to brag about you a little bit first, and that is you are a clairvoyant and a seer. And that skill really helps you in the diagnosis of clients, so you can really go into the inner worlds and the cellular level and all that. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? I would say it's a gift. It's a gift and a skill, kind of both, but I think it's good for the audience to hear that you have that, because that's very special.
Okay, well, thank you for the question, Darren. Yes, I am a clairvoyant and a medical intuitive. And as you rightly say, Darren, there are two aspects to it. In my case, I have always been clairvoyant, so I have a natural gift for that. But I have also been professionally trained by Master Delphi to use my gift in such a way that I can actually use it as a power of seeing and as a power of diagnosing or seeing what is happening in a person's energy field. And I have also the capacity to X-ray the body. So when we're talking with respect to healing, what I do is, there are different aspects of psychic powers, I would say. So one of them is clairvoyance. When I look at a person with the clairvoyant faculty and also with something that we call the third eye, I perceive certain images, I see certain, colors, and I see certain entities, we call them, that are particularly connected to a disease. So when you talk about cancer, when you talk about Parkinson, when you talk about ADD or ADHD, there are certain energy forms that indicate that that disease is there. even with depression or even with anxiety. So when sometimes people have a certain diagnosis from the medical field, I will still go and take that information into consideration, but I will still assess from my clairvoyant capacity whether I actually can see the related energy forms to it. And sometimes it happens that, you know, the diagnosis and my evaluation are not always the same. And there are sometimes deeper aspects with respect to the root causes of diseases than just a generalized, I guess, diagnosis that sometimes is done in the medical field. Each and every person is different. So, you know, you're not, like you can have depression, I can have depression, but your experience of it will be different to my experience of it, because we are not the same people. We don't have the exact same energy setup. We have different life experiences. We are different personality types. So in my diagnosis, I take all that into consideration. And it makes a huge difference if a person, for example, is a Mother Teresa type and has depression versus someone who is more a warrior type, somebody who has a lot of willpower, and that person has depression. And the healing approaches according to that would have to be adjusted. And so I scan the energy field, I scan the chakras, the energy centers, and I do that by clairvoyance, but also by clairsentience. And especially the clairsentient method is something that can easily be learned by each and everyone. And also Beatrice knows how to do that. Maybe Darren already has learned a little bit of that. So with the clairsentient method, with the clairvoyance, with the third eye and the X-ray vision, I have the capacity to bring together a whole complete picture of evaluating not only the physical body, but really see what is going on the 5 levels of health. Because as a human being, we are not only the physical body. When you already have manifested a disease in the physical body, then your root causes of this disease would have been there already for a long time, which sometimes sit in your emotional body, in your mental body. Of course, they can be in your genetics, as they say, so it can come from your past and from the past lives. And sometimes it can, you know, the contributing factors that are contributing from childhood traumas or from current circumstances where people are exposed to stress. It can be maybe they have lost their job, or they have lost finances, or they're going through a divorce. So there are so many things that one has to take into consideration. So when I scan them not only in terms of x-raying the body and seeing if the organs are clean, but I also evaluate how strong is their vitality. Vitality is very important in terms of health management and the sense of well-being. Sometimes people are depleted and they don't realize that they are depleted, because you get used to a status quo of, you know, how you live your life every day. So you're used to that status quo, and then you go around and about and you think, okay, that's normal. And you have not realized that your energy has gone very low. And when somebody comes around, like me as a healer, and we do some exercises and I improve the quality of the energy, they suddenly go like, wow, you know, I feel so much better, because they hadn't realized the energy had gone down. And then I evaluate also their emotional aspects, because emotional health, I was mentioning earlier, is very important, and also their mental aspect. And on the mental aspect, we can work on 2 levels. There's the logical mind that lets us reason our life between black and white, and how we understand things and audit things. And we also have an abstract mind, which is the philosophical mind that lets us understand things. So we know things and we understand things. And then also spiritual health. The spiritual health is one of the things that is not taken into consideration really anywhere in the medical field. When you look in psychology, for example, they have a concept of an emotional well-being or mental well-being, but not very often do they really know how to evaluate a person on their spiritual health. So in our healing system, we know how to establish that because we have the understanding of the energy anatomy versus the physical anatomy. So when you scan certain chakras, these chakras have a function and a faculty. And if these chakras are out of balance, then you would know also that either their function or their faculty would be off balance, and that would subsequently cause certain mental, emotional, physical, or vitality issues. So that's how, you know, we use the tools of clairvoyant, or that I can use the tools of clairvoyant. I can sometimes see beyond what even the person knows. Like we have sometimes a way that we, I would say, in a very simple way expressed, as we choose what we hear and see, and we choose what we remember, or how we evaluate or how we perceive truth according to what we can cope with in terms of diseases. So sometimes we selectively do not want to look at things that might be contributing factors to our imbalances or life challenges. Mm-hmm. So as a clairvoyant, I will see the things that are behind the scenes. Let me put it that way. Okay.
Yes. I just want to let you know that there was a case that Moni was healing. I was co-healing with her, and was a friend of mine from high school. And this friend had an infection and inflammation in a lymph node that she went to all the doctors, she did all the drainages, she took all the medicines you can imagine, and this lymph node was not going down. And I started to heal her, and even I was like, come on, lymph node, go down. So say, okay, let's work with Moni for a psychic reading and also having an evaluation, because it was not really normal. So just let me tell it, Moni. She did the evaluation, and then she said to my friend, hey, did you have a cut in this lymph node? You have a cut there. And my friend was like pale and saying, how you know that? Well, I'm a clairvoyant. I see there a cut, I see entities there. And my friend started crying and say, yeah, it's true. When I was 15 years old, I wanted to suicide myself. So I was kind of cutting everywhere in a dramatic thing. It was not really suicidal, but I was feeling so angry that I just started cutting myself. And then that's what Moni found. And then Moni did 2 healings with her onto that. And the lymph node got totally cleaned up. So maybe some add-on comment is that in this kind of work that Moni do, that we do as the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, we not just see the physical body, but all the layers and frequencies of the emotional, mental, spiritual, as she was saying. And then in those layers, you will find things that definitely are making an impact in the physical body. Right, Moni?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that case. That's true. Yeah.
I have another comment / question, if I may.
Sure, please.
One of the most impactful things I've learned from Master Del Pay and your guys' system is the energy bodies, the healing of the energy bodies, and what role that plays in health. Because I think most people on this call who have studied health are really understand the herbs and the homeopathics and the frequency machines and the rife. What was really impactful for me is these energy bodies that we have, the etheric and the astral and the mental and the emotional bodies. What I learned is that those bodies get clustered and sick first before they actually physicalize and condense into the physical body. And what these guys do, Moni and Beatrice and Master Del Pay, is they're really good at looking at the health effect, the health of those energy bodies, and working on those before they condense and solidify into the liver or the blood or whatever. And it's those energy bodies are really important. I think that even the naturopathic world has sort of dismissed or is sort of not aware of that you guys really have. I think you guys are the premier group who really have are the forefront of really doing a great job of catching the diseases in those energy bodies. And if you get those cleaned and cleared, then you got clean energy bodies that condense and solidify into the physical body. So I really, watching Beatrice all these years, I can see the power of that and the uniqueness of that. And my question is this: what kind of success rate do you have, Moni, with a person physically in front of you versus remotely over Zoom? Is there any more success rates with someone you can lay hands on in person, or do it remotely with the type of energy healing that you do? Or are they completely equal? It doesn't matter at all if you're there or it's remote.
Okay, thank you for that question, Darren. Well, yeah, since this is an energy healing modality where you actually do not touch a person, we do not touch it at all in this healing system. So even if you would be with me in person, I would not touch you. The healing still is a distance. And it's a non-invasive natural methods that we are using. So whether you are in person or whether you are, on Zoom, and I'm here in the Philippines and you are in Ecuador, the healing outcome is 100% the same. And the reason why that is, there's actually a very simple explanation for that, is that we all live within the same energy field called the Earth. And there are certain frequencies that we can access that are held within the energy field of the Earth. For example, you have radio waves, right? There's many spectrums on the radio wave spectrum. Right now, when we are connected via Zoom, we are connected within that field of radio wave spectrum. So that's the reason why we can connect with each other, because we ride on that wave, and we can project our voices, our images through that by using a physical thing that we have invented, either a phone or a computer. And with the healing, it's the same principle. It's like when you connect from one cell phone to another cell phone. The only thing in our case with the healing, we do not use a cell phone, but we use our mind as the energy body to transfer or to teleport the energies to the person that we are connecting with. And this is followed on the principle that energy follows thought. So the moment that you think something, the energy will do that, whether you like it or not. And that is why we can heal remotely anywhere in the world, because we are part. And as you know, we have many different brain waves. There are a few of them that have been discovered by science so far, but there are many, many more waves that we can access. And as you start thinking, there is a vibration coming out. So with that principle, we can heal even remotely, and the healing outcome is 100% the same. And if we can connect, online like we do now, and we have a video, we can show you breathing exercises, physical exercises, and things like that, which people empowered to do at home. They learn that to do at home, so they even get tools to be able to maintain their own health and not just be 100% dependent on the healer, but they manage also their own health, which makes healing also more powerful if you are actually empowered to know techniques that you can use by yourself as well. So that is also a very important concept. And very interestingly, if I may mention that as well, is that very often we get requests as well from family members, that are concerned about some member of the family, but the family member does not want to engage in the healing because for various reasons they don't believe in it, or they just don't want to do it. And then I tell them, please send me a picture and send me the case, and then I will heal them remotely without even connecting to them. Or sometimes I can ask a family member or a friend to say, why don't you be the proxy for that person, and we heal the person via that other person that is the proxy. And even when we do that, the healing outcome is still very remarkable. So the principle of us being within a common energy field, and within that energy field, we are interconnected and interrelated with each other. And the principle of energy follows thought, we can do healings anytime, anywhere.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Moni, for that explanation. And well, that's my experience too. But just for the, let's say, the clarity for our audience, which Darren mentioned, that they are really more onto machines, that like the spooky or the healing, and they know more about that. Will you mind describing a little more, let's say, a little more technical, what is the way that we do the healing in behavioral science? Since like somebody comes to you, and then what do you do and how you heal them, and maybe a little bit of the esoteric tools or spiritual tools that we use onto that, so they know the difference of also theta healing and Reiki, and the other modalities.
Yes. So there are some very profound differences in each energy healing system. So as you say, some people would even use computer programs or whatever devices have been developed to influence the energy field, and they will have a certain impact on some level of the lowest part of our energy field, with this, which is what we call the etheric, or where we hold the biovitality. And if you remove certain congestions there, and you say can improve the quality of that etheric field, there will be a sense of improvement or a sense of change in the physical body. But I was saying, as I was saying earlier, for us in our energy healing system, we have to look at the 5 levels of health to have complete healing. So you need to heal the physical body, you need to heal your biovitality or etheric body, you need to heal your emotional body, your mental body, and also your spiritual aspect. And moreover, you need to heal whatever is your problem in the present, but you also need to heal the past. And sometimes you need to heal the future as well, because in terms of healing, we need to heal every aspect of our life. So that means you heal yourself as a person, but you need to sometimes also heal your circumstances. So healing is not only about removing the symptoms of the ailment or the challenge that a person faces, but to really remove the root causes of disease, which very often sit in the past. And in our system, we believe in past lives. If you do not remove the karmic aspects of certain diseases, especially when it comes to heavy diseases that are incurable or that can medically not be treated, psychospiritual syndromes, you have to go into the past and heal the past to be able to free the present and then empower the future. So healing is in our system using the physical aspect with the physical exercises that we have, breathing techniques that improve the quality of your energy field, and allow the stimulation of certain energy centers that will help to improve the software of your emotional and mental aspects, so that you can develop more love, or you can develop more mental capacity, and you can have a greater spiritual connection, for example. And another aspect that is very important, so when you mentioned, Beatrice, that you have theta healing and these kind of things. Mystical healing, of course, works, and face healing also works to a certain extent. But sometimes what happens is that with many healing modalities, there is a shift in energy, but there is not really a removal of energy. So what we do in our system is we do not just shift things around, but we really have a method where we extract the negativity out of the system, so that it's really gone. So it's really put out. It's like when you are renovating a house and you have a dirty spot on your wall, you can just paint over it, but that dirty spot will still be there, right? So sure, from the outside, it looks like, yeah, it's all clean, but in the deeper layers of the consciousness, the dirty spot has not been removed. And it will cause, other problems in life further down the line. So sometimes you heal in this moment, you feel better, and then 1 year or 2 years later, another disease comes or another challenge comes, and you wonder why. It's because you've never removed that stain. So in our healing system, we have an extraction method where we extract out all the negative energies and entities that we see in the system. We clean out the past and extract out the karmic substances. And we also unblock the future ahead from any karmic substance that has overtaken or can overtake into the future. And after we have extracted out the dirtiness, then we fill it in with new energy, with more light. So when you have more light in your body, it is much easier for you to heal on the various levels, not only in the body, but of course also in your auras. So from that perspective, that is one of the biggest differences that we use is we are healing the past, the present, and the future. We are addressing the 5 levels of health. We are extracting out the negativities, making sure it is really removed and disconnected. And then we are re-energizing the gaps, because when you remove something, there's like a gap. So you have to fill something in again. So we are bringing in new substance and new energies so that the whole system really can go to a new level of existence. And then we also use, of course, life coaching and mentoring to help people overcome other challenges that might be contributing to their problems, anything in their life, whether it be relationships, whether it's their career, their social life, and sometimes, of course, also the spiritual life that is causing problems for people. If they are having an awakening, sometimes people go into something that is called the dark night of the soul. And when they reach a point like that in their lives, they suddenly feel lost. They lose all meaning in their lives. So at that point, they would maybe go to a doctor and they would be diagnosed with depression, but they actually do not suffer from depression at all. It is something that is called the dark night of the soul. And with that respect, one needs to really understand the deeper psychospiritual aspects of the karmic substance that needs to be removed at that time for the person to leave the suffering and for the person to get into an inner alignment again and to understand where they need to go with respect of their spiritual growth, not only, maintaining their health and well-being.
Thank you, Moni. Indeed, it's a very advanced modality. I have been able to start as a client, now studying and having also the fortune to work with you, collaborate with you on Master del P in the heal plans and processes. And two other things that I know are important is people to know that there is a method we use to also protect our clients so they kind of not reconnect back to the thing. So some of the psychic defense, we can say, or shielding. And also there is an aspect that all of us talk about in this community about the shift and the changes and what we call the positive destruction or the Aquarian life, the new life, new age of Aquarius. So the new energies are needed to help people evolve and not just receive the old energies of the past. Otherwise, they'll go back to what they had. This system is helping people to connect to their soul and higher purpose so they can go to the future and then keep on evolving. So that's a little 2 cents of what I know that Moni does, we all do. And I think Darren has a question here.
Yeah, I have many, but
We only have 1 hour,
Right.
so you
yeah,
have to
we only
squeeze
have
it.
about 15 minutes left, and I want to save the last 10 minutes for you to kind of give an overview and outline of your upcoming events and all your services so people can, have a good takeaway of if they're interested in what you guys have to offer. But before we get to that, my question or my comment and question
It's
is
a
this.
common comment I
Mhm.
hear.
Observing, I'm observing the last 5 years with Beatrice. She spends a lot of time on many clients. And of course, I've been to the Philippines myself and been to some events with you guys. I've seen miraculous healings and amazing things happen. I also have seen people pass away. And one of the things that comes up in my conversations with Beatrice, I think it would be helpful for you to address, is this idea of the karmic history that comes into play here, even when you're healing with someone, because that's kind of new for a lot of people taking that consideration in here. And I know Beatrice herself says, she's told me before, it looks like the karma of this person is like they finished their contract here. They finished this soul did what they needed to do. And now another great thing that you guys are really good at, is helping that person prepare for what the negative word is death, but I would call it more transitioning. It's actually the best day of our life, in my opinion, of preparing somebody for that as well. So if you can maybe just address, overview the idea of karma and its role in one's healing journey, I think that would be helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, so when you are thinking about yourself, you are not just an island upon yourself, but you have a lot of connections. You are connected to your lineage, to your ancestors. You are connected to the country that you live in and that you were born in. You have affinities to religion, you have affinities to industries through your careers, and you are part of humanity, and you are part of the whole earth. So with the context of karma, depending also what level of development a soul is on, we have various karmic connectivities that affect our health and well-being and are allowing us to reach our greatest potential in life. So it is sometimes not only about healing the physical challenge, but to really understand the journey that a person needs to be on to overcome that disease. Very often life challenges come to us as a wake-up call to look deeper inside us, to find a new meaning and a greater meaning for life, and to understand what would be our next steps, not so much in our typical everyday life, but in our inner development. And without removing the karmic aspects, sometimes the healing can only happen once that karma is removed, and healing happens. And in terms of the aspect of life after death, as we call it, or when a person has reached the final stages of this physical life, what we need to do is we need to still heal as much karma as we can, because in our philosophy and in our principles, we know that life continues. That's why we call it life after death. So when a person passes over and you discard your physical body, your emotional, your mental body, and your spiritual being, which is your soul, they continue existing within the layers that are equivalent to that of the earth being. The earth is not only a physical earth, the earth is also a being. And the physical body has a very short lifespan, but what really lives on for a long time is our soul. And enlightenment, or the path of enlightenment, is the path where we allow our soul to grow. So we can do that in the physical level when we are alive, but even when we are passing over in the inner world, as we call it, because you don't have the external body anymore, you continue this journey. It does not stop just because you have discarded the physical body. So when we heal a person, sometimes when we scan the energy anatomy, there are certain energy centers that indicate whether the lifespan of that person has reached the end of the physical life or not. And we can scan certain aspects that is called life chip condensers. When these life chip condensers indicate a certain aspect of deterioration, we would know, that the person lifespan has come to an end. And despite that, we still do encourage people to continue healing, because it is only the end of the physical body, but it's not the end of the existence of the soul and the emotional mental bodies. So when we help people in those stages, we make sure we clear and clean out as much karma as we can. We disintegrate the root causes, the programs and imprints in the energy field of diseases and of the negativities and life blockages that person might have. And we prepare the energy body in such a way that the upper system, especially here the crown, and this is your connection to your soul, is really open, and that there are no negative aspects in the person, so the person can be peaceful, the family can be peaceful when the person exits out of the body. And they will exit out on the crown and will start the journey in the inner world on the highest and clearest and purest aspect, to have a good experience of passing and continuing the life after death.
Yes, Moni, indeed. And I just want to tell here our audience that indeed this was the experience we had. I had the fortune to have Moni and Master El Bear team really helping my dad in his critical time when he was in the hospital and ICU, and also in his transition to the higher realm. So, many people says, okay, if you're healing, then they should survive, or we attach to the life of our loved ones that are suffering. And the experience I had going through this with my own parent, being a specialist in energy medicine and having the support of the institute, is really seeing that sometimes the soul is graduating and is finishing, and what you can really do is help them to die with dignity, to transition. So we knew in the healing that it was going to either, maybe survive if the soul wanted to be here, or he was going to be very clean in the new world and graduate and have a better life. And when he departed, we had the peace of mind that we did our best, and he left properly, and that has been a lot of peace for our family to know that, that he's not suffering anymore, not just because of religious beliefs that he departed, but his emotional body, his mental body, many things of the past, many things of his own designs have changed. And having Moni there to help us to see that and actually experience it was really uplifting. So the process of our family grief and that has been smoother because of the possibility of doing the healings and keep on healing ourselves as a family, clean our family karma and many other things that are very sophisticated and that doesn't happen in a hospital. So that's what I wanted to say, Moni.
Thank
Very
you for
good.
sharing that, Beatrice. Yeah.
If we may, we did have a question come in. Anybody else has any questions, now would be the time to submit them in the chat window. But a hot topic on everybody's mind just was submitted by Phil, and that is COVID, and not so much the virus itself, but the result, in my opinion, is the dark side, is launching the whole vaccine thing. But I'm interested to see what your opinion is, Moni, on his specific question is, if you can read in the chat window, is what does she see that is affected with people who have had or received the vaccine? What are you seeing as a clairvoyant with people that get the injection of the vaccine?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that question. What I have been seeing as such as a general aspect in terms of the vaccination programs, tuning into the various aspects, also that goes onto the global scene. But generally, when I tune into the vaccine and the effect on people with respect of protecting them against COVID, I actually do not see that protection happen. So the COVID virus itself has a little bit of a different agenda, I would say, and a different energy profile or functioning profile than other viruses have. And I mean, everybody has seen that. It's a flu virus as such, but it acts very differently, right, than other viruses do. So in our perspective, we do see a virus as a living organism with a certain type of software and intelligence. And this virus in the higher spiritual context is not only here to cause a pandemic, but in terms of the earth changes and in terms of what Beatrice has mentioned, moving from the bias into the current life, certain diseases come to humanity to help humanity to wake up, to have a collective awakening to a new higher consciousness, so that humanity as a collective can move on to their next level of enlightenment, even help the earth being also to improve and go on to the next step of the enlightenment path. And the vaccine has, on the long term, very little effect for this virus, because it will still continue doing what it is meant to do, which is to induce a type of suffering into humanity and putting humanity under a lot of strain, a lot of struggle, and a lot of suffering, so that people, especially more advanced souls, will be waking up from this whole situation. And another level that I have observed is, and that's important also to understand, is that not each human being is the same. So in our system, we have a delineation between the ordinary people and intelligentsia, advanced people, and then initiates and higher up. If ordinary people get vaccinated, they have lesser side effects as such to the vaccination, but the effect of the vaccine is like really low. The protection of the vaccine will not last very long. When it comes to the more advanced souls, and if they receive the vaccinations, I have observed and have had feedback that they do actually have severe reactions and side effects to the vaccine, and the vaccine makes them very, very sick. And the reason for that is a discrepancy of frequency. If your frequency is already very high, and you are already serving for the new aspects of life in the Aquarian age that is incoming, which we call the anchoring of the divine plan, and you have elevated your vibration already to a certain extent, the vibration of the vaccine is lower, and it will pull your energy down. It can make you very sick and cause side effects and complications in the health, and even emotional, mental, I have seen. So there are different aspects to the vaccine that needs to be taken into consideration in terms of the effectiveness, which I don't see happening, and then also of the side effects that it can cause, which depends on the development of the soul, whether it will have a huge side effect or lesser side effect. So at the end of the day, everybody has to decide that him or herself where they want to go with it. But that's what I have observed.
Yes, Moni, indeed. I have received from our own clients, that they have family members which have been even doctors. So there was a student of us that we healed here. I healed with Monica, her sister, that is a medical doctor in Guayaquil, that is a cardiologist. And then because of the doctors want to really be the example, right, in their own mindset of how to prevent this, she took the vaccine, and this case, and then she just started to get sick with the first one, and then the second shot, she got almost like she had the COVID again. and she really had a hard time to recover. And unfortunately, I had another client 2 or 3 days ago saying a couple of doctors that died here in Guayaquil because of the same. They took the vaccine, and then 3 or 4 days later, they start having symptoms, COVID-like, and then unfortunately, both of them died. So what we're seeing is that this situation could happen. Other doctors' suicide here is like very sad news here in Guayaquil. A couple of doctors just suicide. So we're seeing all the pressure that is happening in the medical care system with the frontliners right now. And what will happen when all of them are burnout or are vaccinated and can function well is that healthcare system as such, medical care is probably going to collapse. And so people will have to start to take charge of their health and maybe learn healing sciences and work with us. What do you say?
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Well, we have the principle or concept of reinventing healthcare. And what we mean by that is not, discarding the medical healthcare that we know, but reinventing healthcare means that we should look into improving our health and well-being through different means outside the medical profession. And a healing system like the Biwa science can very well stand by itself to help people overcome diseases and life challenges, or it can be also complementary to the medical science. There are, of course, still very, very good aspects in the medical science that sometimes needs to be used as well. But we need to really look into healing every aspect of our lives. We need to look in reinventing healthcare and taking charge of our health and well-being by making better choices and by allowing a better lifestyle for ourselves, by receiving also life coaching and life mentoring. And healing aspect is not only about, as I said earlier, overcoming a disease, but also about your journey in life and who you are becoming in life. So reinventing healthcare really addresses all these different levels, and we need to be able to be independent of the codependency that has been created through more the pharmaceutical industry, that the common approaches nowadays in these industries is to just symptomatically treat you, but not really to look at the root causes of diseases. And one of the things that Beatrice mentioned earlier, which is really one of the important factors, is to understand more the esoteric aspects behind diseases and to know how to be shielded energetically from the negativities of the environment, so that in the first place you would not be so affected what is going on around you. And also to understand that in terms, when I talk about the path of enlightenment, we could do another fireside talk on that, but one of the things that helps us to neutralize karma, say if we have negative karma because we are still eating meat, and when we are eating meat, we are creating karma with the animal kingdom. And for example, COVID is a zoonotic disease, which means it came from the animal kingdom. So in the esoteric aspect, why do we have that? There is a karma between humanity and the animal kingdom. So if you change your lifestyle to a healthier lifestyle and you avoid eating animal meat, you might by that action already neutralize certain aspects of your karma, not to be exposed or attract the disease of COVID, because you have removed yourself from that karmic platform. And then if you do healing on top of it, of course, you would extract out the sins of the past to be able to neutralize more of these aspects. So these are the things that are very important to take into consideration.
Yes, Moni, indeed. And Carol was just saying that we all have karma, that we are born in this life, which is one of the purposes of life. Can we have a healing session and rid ourselves of karma? She's asking that. And before you answer, Moni, I want to tell people that Moni, she's super busy. So she's the more busiest specialist in energy medicine of the world probably right now, but it's because she's very effective, but she offers her sessions. We offer it through the World Institute for Incurable Diseases, so you can look for her agenda. You can ask me also, I can help you to get with her. But the point is that she can offer you a psychic reading, and with that you can also know what's really happening with you. If you have a situation you don't know and you want a heal plan or something to help you, to first understand where you are and what do you need, and then have a process, because at the end that's the idea, is to have a healing process where you can really take charge of your life and you can align to your soul to fulfill your purpose, right? Then you are graduating of your game of life. So I'm going to allow Moni to answer this question. We have to wrap up in the next few minutes. So after Moni answers, I'm going to invite her for another session, maybe about other topics. I know we kind of fall short to what she can share with us. And I'm going to tell you what are exciting events, or maybe Moni, you can, after answering the question of Carol, what is next this week? What is happening in this week? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, and with respect of healing karma, yes, we have a specialization to help people to heal karma. So we have different heal plans. We have 57 different specializations with which we can help you on the different karmic aspects. So the way how we do that is we engage into free consultations first, as Beatrice was saying, to assess your situation as per your individual need, to scan your energy system to see where the karma comes from and how heavy the karma is. And then according to that, we establish a heal plan with a heal team that is specifically geared to your needs, and also bearing into mind to give you the best service with the highest effectiveness and the fastest outcome, so that it is also still cost effective on your side. So we take all that into consideration. As we know nowadays, the medical costs can be so tremendously high. So in our heal plan, we take into consideration to keep the investment for your heal plan to the lowest level that is adjustable as per your individual need. And I would suggest that you can have a look on the website, and Beatrice can maybe put that in the chat window of the World Institute for Incurable Diseases. You can go there and book consultation sessions directly, or you can do it through Beatrice. And Beatrice yourself, you see already has also a lot of capacity to help you and assess things. So we can work together as a team. And with respect of ongoing programs, I would just like to point out that we have an incoming retreat, which is the Enlightened Life Retreat with the Vesak full moon meditation experience, which will start on April 24 to April 30. And it is an online virtual retreat. And in this retreat, we will show you the rules, the 12 rules of enlightenment, and the path and steps of how you truly can achieve enlightenment, with a curriculum and a syllable that will help you to know yourself, as they say, man, know thyself. So on the path of enlightenment, what we really show you is your own path of self-mastery. So the whole program has got a myriad of meditations, of seminars and workshops that are pre-recorded by Master Delpe, plus live facilitation sessions, group activities, and of course, live sessions also with Master Delpe himself. And on top of it, you can participate in the Full Moon Festival of Vesak and receive the high energies of the year that are coming through Vesak, which is especially the substance of love and wisdom, but in the new Aquarian aspect. So you receive love and wisdom, applying love intelligently, and intelligence also lovingly applied, and love with discernment and love with discrimination. And it is the festival of illumination, where the earth is bestowed from the higher beings, illuminating substance of the divine plan that is given at this time of the year through a conclave of the great ones. So you can tune in and be part of a group of people that also help channel this energy for the earth and for humanity. So, and it will definitely expand your consciousness to a higher consciousness and bring more light into your existence, and will help you on your next steps of your spiritual path.
Thank you, Moni. Yeah, it's true. One of my first experiences that really made me understand that Master LP and this group was really serious on this was a Vesak experience like 14 years ago, when they just said to me, you know, we prepare and meditate here in Ecuador with a group. And since then, I have never failed to be in one of these or in others, because the substance we receive is so rich. And of course, there is a need of preparation. There is a space where we self-audit, where we do martial arts, where we detoxify in many ways, and then having the experience of receiving this energy and also helping and co-creating in this community. All we talk about co-create with the divine plan and be a community that is conscious. So what better opportunity for us to be part of this and then have our next steps after the WESAC. So hoping all of you guys that are seeing this, check out our website, or you can ask me, I can give you the information about the retreat. Then I will be advertising that or sending the flyer that's in Vilca list or something. I also put in the chat that there is the withglobal.com where you can access a free session or a consultation, and you can also do it through me, so I can also book and schedule with Moni, or if you need me, we will help you because we are a team. And that's what you can get with the World Institute of Incurable Diseases, is there is an international team of specialists that we're really trying to reinvent healthcare, and we're changing the world through our healing sciences. And I know this is going to be the science of the future, and we as a community can really help and collaborate with each other with our talents as healers. Do many things in this group, but also I know this system is going to be very important when maybe there are no doctors, when you can heal at distance, when you can duplicate and teach others how to do it, when you know it's safe and you're not putting any woo-woo thing, you're actually extracting negativity. So all this piled up is going to make a difference, a big, big help and support for the health of the community. Thank you, my love, also for co-hosting and sharing with people your experience. Thank you, Tom and Roshni and Carol and Phil and Minal and Faride and Rebecca and Beck for being here with us, and also your questions. And hoping we can have Moni again in the future, maybe with another very interesting topic.
Well, thank you so much, Darren and Beatrice, and everyone who has come and participated. And maybe you will also have more people seeing the recording. To all of you, I wish you really all the best. It has been such a great pleasure to be here and have this conversation. I think it's really one of the more important things that we need to talk about in this current moment of evolutionary paths that we find ourselves on, in terms of the global challenges that we are facing. Because it's not only about COVID, it's also the side effects of COVID in terms of people losing their jobs and having more stress and other factors that might affect people. So the World Institute for Incurable Diseases really has solutions to bring you forward, especially for the more advanced souls that do not find help, for all those aspects where medical profession has reached a limit, and incurable diseases, the non-medical responders, the psychospiritual syndromes. And as you said, also Beatrice, there will come a time eventually where maybe hospitals and the medical institutions might be non-functional. So we need to equip ourselves ahead of time with more knowledge and with tools and techniques where we can help ourselves, our families, and of course, serve for the greater good. And Darren, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. It's always a great pleasure to have a good chat. Yeah, and I hope we can see each other again.
Thank you so much, Moni. Once
You're
again,
raving.
it was great to have you. Thank you all of our guests who joined us tonight and all those who will be watching the recording. Minal just said very enlightening talk. Thank you, Minal. Thank you again, Moni. And if anybody needs any more information, everybody here in the Valley knows Beatrice, and she can get you connected to the right website or the right people or the right emails. So with that,
Con gusto.
keep the big picture burning brightly, everyone. These are challenging but exciting times. There is a lot of great things happening of awakening, as you touched on earlier, and opportunities that weren't there before, and lots of good things happening. So we sure do appreciate all the work you guys are doing at the ashram to help heal the world, and whoever is brought into your sphere and doing your work, Moni, Master Del Pay, and all of you there. Okay, everyone, have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Great morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Namaskar.